G'day viewers, welcome to this week's PB's Retro Restorations. This week I'm doing this Matchbox number 31C Lincoln Continental. They're not too bad a shape. This is one I got from the diecast fair some time ago, probably getting on to a year ago. I paid $5 for it. It's complete, it's not bent, it's not smashed. That front windscreen's a bit grubby, but the wheels and everything, it's all here. It should be a pretty straightforward restoration. Now, I mentioned the diecast fair, it's on again this weekend, so hopefully next week I'll have a bit of a recap and I'll show you what I bought. Not that I plan to buy anything, you understand. But anyway, let's get crack-a-lackin' on this one and we'll worry about the next one next time. Bzzz. Bzzz. There you go. Now this one fought me a little bit. I had to use the center punch and a couple other things to get it to finally come apart, and that actually caused me an issue that would present itself later in the build, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. That was the least of my problems with this car. So even after I drilled this windscreen hole, it still didn't want to come out. It looks like the front glass, it's been stood on maybe and it broke the front windscreen, and a well-intentioned dad or somebody's said, "Don't worry son, I'll fix that for you," and they've glued it and they fixed it and saved it to live another day, but also glued it to the roof. So very carefully poked it and I eventually got it out. And that front screen is so flimsy on it, it must have broken at some stage in its life. But we thank the other owner for fixing it so it could at least have a chance of being refurbished. So threading and tapping, cleaning up the posts so it'll all go back together properly. Now that one on the back, because it's an opening boot, that metal's so thin that I'm just not going to be able to tap it, so my aim is to glue that back in place at the end. I'll paint the where I drilled it out and hopefully it'll look like a rivet in place. Here I am doing my best to destroy my fingers just to get those wheels off. Now I'm going to show you how I reform them this time, everybody. I know some of you have been waiting for me to show that in a bit more detail. The method I use I stole from Marty Matchbox, I'm sure you're familiar with, but I'll show you what I do. It works for me, and I'm not going to restore these wheels. After I wash them, they're in really good condition. So I chuck in all the plastic parts into some warm water, not boiling hot, let it soak, and then I get the paint stripper onto the body. Yes, I tipped too much on it. I'll come up with a better method one day. But anyway. So while I'm leaving that paint to strip, and these have had a little bit of a soak, I give them a brush with my best toothbrush, just to get the dirt off. All the interior pieces, apart from that glass, are in really good shape. was extra careful with the glass because I didn't want to break it. Now the wheels scrubbed up pretty good, but they still had a bit of gunk in them, so I let them soak a whole heap longer, and they came out really good. I didn't put any clear or paint or anything on them. They're really good. So I started off with a pretty coarse Scotch-Brite wheel. Was getting it off pretty good, but then I thought I'd ramp it up and try the red one, which is a lot coarser. I think it's 40 grit, but don't quote me on that. So that was looking pretty good, but I got the brass wire brush to get the front end and the rear end details really shiny. Then I got my fine Scotch-Brite just to give it a final go over. Okay, so I had this paint. It was pretty close, real close. I thought I'd just mix a little bit of white in it, but I didn't quite have enough white. But I stirred it up and I spray painted the car. I thought, this is looking great. I'm just going to put in my little toaster oven to bake it. And I didn't just bake it, I cooked a living buggery out of it, viewers. And you know what that meant? I've done an overnight panic job to strip it and respray it and do it again. So I don't know if the enamel likes the hot temperature, but anyway, here I am doing my best with this windscreen. It was pretty rough, but I did what I could. Now, block of wood with a nail. I've ground a little bit of a divot in it, as you can see, and I've done the same with that nail that's in my drill press. Now, line them up, start the machine, bzz, bzz, and it forms it over and holds the wheels on. I've got to upgrade my nails. I've seen Paul Restorer use a centre punch, or not a centre punch, a nail punch, so I should get onto that. Alright, time to start putting it back together. It's kind of pushed back onto the rivet, but you know, I put a little bit of white glue on it just to make sure. I tried putting the interior in, and then I went to put the suspension piece in, and it was that tight I took it back out and pushed it in properly. Alright, once I got it, I went to put it back in the body. Why doesn't this fit? It's longer than it was. Yeah, of course. Stupid me's trying to put it in the wrong way around. What a genius. But I worked it out in the end. Now at first I thought the hole in the base wasn't going over the rivet. I hadn't done a good enough job of cleaning it up. It just wouldn't go on there. So I drilled it out a little bit, drilled it out a little bit more, still wouldn't go. And that's when it occurred to me that it wasn't that the hole wasn't big enough, it's just the base was bent. So I pulled it off and I tweaked it with the pliers, and then we went in again and I put some glue in it just to make sure it's never coming apart ever again without some severe damage. So I've clamped it down, got that glue in there, and just like that, we're done. So here we are back at the start with my $5 find. Apart from that front windscreen and the paint, it wasn't too bad. Nice, solid, complete. The wheels are good. The boot lid hasn't been snapped off. I thought it was really good value for $5. All it needed was a makeover. And speaking of makeovers, Well, wouldn't you know, that's what I've just done. And this is what we started with. And this is what it looks like now. It's looking $1 million now. Still got some of its battle scars on that front windscreen, but they're a lot better than they were. Paint isn't quite an exact match. This is a little bit too dark, but given all the dramas I had and pressed for time and things, I'm pretty pleased with it. Pretty pleased with the gloss on it too. There's no clear coat been put over this one. This is straight out of the brush, acrylic airbrush paint. I hope you've liked it. Show people you care about your personal appearance by wearing a PB shirt from PB. Available now. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to choose to watch my video. My wife says there's billions of videos on YouTube, which I find hard to believe, and you've chosen to watch mine. I really appreciate that, sincerely. If you've liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you think you know someone who might enjoy watching it, share it with them. And if you've really liked it and think you'd like to see if it's this mental every week, why not subscribe? I hope you all have a really good week. I'm going to the Diecast Fair tomorrow. I'm sure to probably buy something I shouldn't, so we might have an unboxing video next week. I've also got some great things I've received in the mail from friends around the world. Asko and Ciso in Finland. I hope I've pronounced that right, guys. You'll have to forgive me. And Nathan, he sent me well, I'm not going to say what he sent me. You can wait for next week for the unboxing video. That's called a carrot dangle. Keep you all hanging on. Alright, stay safe, stay well, and I will see you next Friday. Bye!